I think for an attention getter, for me, a good attention getter, I usually try to have, oftentimes I try to have fun with attention getters. It's kind of my way of opening up, where you might open up a sermon with a joke or something humorous. Sometimes the attention getter can be humorous for me. I think using one of our volunteers to actually come and physically interrupt the beginning of
in the middle of the service?
Yeah, probably interrupt the service. I will probably get started by, laying some general.
Is that role modeling for everyone else there?
I was going to say.
We'll talk about that in critique after this actually interrupting the service, have some kind of a crisis moment. I'll talk about that you're really interrupting right now, and it'll be something, verbal, so it'll get us through. We'll talk about the interruption. And then use that as a way to segue into, sometimes our lives are going along and we can get interrupted. I will probably use the examples of the tiers as a way to parallel the challenge that that Israel was facing, and a change of leadership and a change of administrative policy and a change of government, how it was affecting them, to how the tier system will very likely be affecting changes in our folks' lives, and that we don't understand it, and it's fearful, and it makes us anxious, much like it was doing the Israelites at the time. Use that as a parallel illustration as opposed to an attention-getting, for me anyway.
Well, one of our volunteers, Pam, who was also on staff, talks about how her life was constantly being interrupted, and she has preached that sermon, but our guys will remember that and they'll like that, and so I'll retell that, I think, about how she loved Ohio, and her husband came and said, "We're moving," and she was like, "No, we're not moving." "Yes, we are moving." And so, the whole process, she has fought interruptions in life, and yet when she's finally gone, she's realized God really is working in her life. Even though she hasn't liked the interruption, she's trusted God, and He has brought her into really better places when her life has been interrupted again and again. And so,
well, this actually comes at a convenient time for our folks and what they're facing, because there is this very clear biblical story of the Israelis were being enslaved, treated unfairly. It wasn't right because of a change in the political leadership of the country they lived in, the area they lived in, and that our folks' lives are about ready to be interrupted. Well, it transitions very nicely to a current day problem.
And I think our folks sometimes feel that they have no control over what's happening in their lives. And I like the whole thing that we're talking about, in that we can let them know there are some things that they can do. They can trust God. They can know that God is going to do a miracle. To me, that's so encouraging when somebody comes to me and says, in the middle of my confusion, and says, God's going to do something. Oh, no, I forgot. So I think this will, for me, it gives them something they can do. They can pray, they can trust God, they can believe that God is going to do. And it doesn't leave them powerless. I think that's important for our folks. It's important for everybody to not feel powerless, but I think so often they feel powerless as life is moving around them.
Well, when you've done all that you can do, and you don't know what else to do, when Moses' mother fashioned a basket and put him in it and set him free in the Nile, she did everything that she could do. She may have even tried to calculate where he'd be released so that he might be freed, but she had no assurance that the result would not have been the same as any other male baby boy. She just didn't know. So she had to trust God, and we can do the same. We just don't know.
Well, that will be sermon for the first week. I think it'll be helpful for our folks. Good deal.